Hey guys, in this video I'll be designing the claw and a way of mounting it. At the end of the previous video I realised the first piece I designed would not be suitable to mount the bracket for the claw, so I went back into the sketch, added another hole and changed the position of the second mounting point. I added another hole so that the bracket which holds the claw could not swivel. I also changed the position of the second mounting point so that the syringe would be at level with the claw and further away. You see here, I copy and paste the piece so that it looks the same as everything else. I start a new sketch and draw a thin rectangle. This will form the first part of the claw. I copy and paste this rectangle, move it up and to the left 45 degrees. The next thing I do is draw a circle at both ends of the claw. This is so I can have a rounded edge. It's also so parts later can spin easily. I then draw a circle of 5.2mm at the end of the bottom of the claw, and one of 1.3mm in the middle and at the top. This is slightly larger than a paperclip and will allow it to move freely. The next thing I do is select all the parts I want extruded, press E and extrude by 3mm. I then select these corners, press C to chamfer them and chamfer them by 7.5mm. I do the same on the inside. Because I've finished this now, I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm now moving on to the part which will attach to the end of the claw and allow me to grip things. I make this 10 by 15mm. Make it 15mm so I can have 5 sections of 3mm width each, as you can see here. I make them 3mm width so that the claw can slide in between the gaps. You can see this clearly once I've extruded it. I extrude sections 2 and 4 by 5mm and the rest by 1mm. I'm going to have a hole which goes through this piece so that I can connect it to the end of the claw. I click on the side I want to draw on, then click Create Sketch. I draw a line from the bottom of this piece up 5.2mm. I choose 5.2mm because it's the distance between the hole at the end of the claw and the edge of the claw. I draw a circle of 1.3mm at the end of this line to fit a paperclip. I then extrude backwards so there's a hole through the whole thing. The tops of these are too low, so I extrude them up by 1.5mm. I then select all the sides I want chamfered and press C to chamfer them. After I've done this piece is now complete, so I'll copy it and paste it. I create a new sketch and draw a rectangle of the correct size. This will form the bracket which connects the claws to the arm. I then draw 2 vertical lines which are 5mm away from the edge. This is so a 5mm wall will be formed. I then draw a vertical line downwards in the middle and a horizontal line about a quarter of the way down. This is so I can position the circles correctly. I draw one 2-point circle on one side and another on the other side. I use this middle line to make sure they are symmetrical. Once extruded, it looks like this. These walls will connect to the piece I created at the start of this video with 2 holes in it. To allow these 2 pieces to connect, I need to create 2 holes on the side of the bracket. I do this by selecting the side of the bracket and then clicking on New Sketch. I draw a line up from the bottom of 17.5mm. This is because this is the distance between the holes in the piece and the edge of the piece. I then draw a horizontal line to make sure the next 2 holes I draw are level. I know these holes should be 12mm apart, so I use the small 1mm squares to draw 2 circles which are 6mm from the centre line. I make these circles 5.2mm so that they can fit a Lego crossbeam. I then select both circles and press E to extrude. I drag the extrusion back to make 2 holes on both sides which are equal. I then select these sides and press C to chamfer. So that's the last part complete and we're done. Okay guys, that's the end of this video. Now it's on to printing.